Okay. Um, I'm a little bit better today about being on time, but I still have to. Um, oh, here. I'm still posting links and stuff. So, and I was on time, but I had to use the restroom, and then it was kind of later than was supposed to be when it came out, and then I had to. Sometimes you have to deal with the stuff not working, or like I have to put in my description, and kind of a pain in the butt, really. Okay, so forgive me for that. Let's go ahead and post, paste. Okay. Okay. And thumbnails are neat, embeds are neat, but I'll probably be not doing them anymore. Okay, that's interesting. I guess I turn off embeds in on these Discord channels because it was only doing one, not both, and I have two different links here. Let's see if well, this one does it. So when I start posting these to Discord, I'm gonna remove the embeds in it just because of how many posts, and it takes up a lot of extra space and stuff. Like I said, I realized that the embeds kind of help you see a picture, a visualization. It's usually just a thumbnail, and that can help sometimes. But I'm removing them here. Okay. Give me a second while I finish this off. So, and I had to do something to do with the the way the videos were working. It took me 2 or 3 minutes, and I was just gonna be like, well, I'm gonna start at 5 minutes till, and then I'm gonna start at 5 minutes after, and then what happens? Uh, I end up starting like 10 to 15 minutes later, and I don't know. It's a pain. Just a pain in the butt, I guess. I kind of don't know how other people do it, but of course they don't. I don't think most people spam their streams everywhere, and that's effectively what I'm doing. I mean, I'm not spamming technically, but there we go. And let me refresh that. Okay. I kind of wonder what the on Restream there's a thing to viewers. Does that mean is that cumulative over all the platforms you're using? I don't know. Anyways, not a big deal. Not a big deal. Okay. Somebody liked my thing on the Discord, which is cool. Uh, I guess I need a new. New window. Restream. Oh, oh yeah. New tab. No, this needs to be over here. Give me another quick second. Let's go ahead and put this in. All right, something. B. 66. Post. Oh yeah. Streaming post. Okay. And the Redot subreddit, which is the only one that seems to let me be able to post my stuff in here. Actually, there's a couple of places that can do it, I think, that don't mind you putting your stuff in. But some of them will like want a they want a screenshot. I don't really have a. I do have a screenshot, but it's like there's nothing different. Like when you play it, it's not going to be anything different other than the text changing. So okay, so now all I'm doing is I'm going to X and I'm going to post in those few communities in there. What is that? Oh, Batman the Animated Series. Anyway, sorry, but okay, so let me go post these to these communities. The three main ones here. So give me a sec. Shoot, it almost means that I need to start an hour early just to get to the point of where I'm ready to actually do something, right? So dang annoying. I'm gonna say paste, and then I'm going to go ahead and let's do that. Two, and into the Redot X community or community on X, post, paste. That's all right. And now I need to, let's see here. Go to profile. Where's profiles? Profile. Give me a sec. I don't know where anything's at anymore. Okay. And wait a second. Where? Okay. I'm like, copy. I'm like, where are my tags, right? Post. Post. This one, same way. Post. Post. And let's go back to my profile. Refresh. Profile. And then let's, I guess, edit. And let's remove the embed here. Oh, that's right. I have to modify it slightly. Update. For it to work right. Hold on a sec. Just trying to remove the embeds. update. Okay. This one. Edit post. I have to actually go and edit post to remove the embed, and then I have to change it slightly. Just so that it will update, because the text hasn't actually changed. All I did was remove the embedded image in there. Okay, I think everything looks good. Everything looks dandy. Okay, give me one more second. Okay, give me a couple more minutes. Let me there was a post on there's a post on X. Somebody was posting a clip of from Klaus, or Claus, I should say, that Netflix movie about Santa Claus or whatever. I haven't seen it because I don't have Netflix, but there it was showing an animation clip, and it was nice and smooth, and actually was really good for what it was. But I kind of noticed that it did the thing where it kind of does like the flip, like on limited TV animation, where instead of actually looking like they're actually turning their head, actually having real full animation, it kind of looks like it kind of like flips, and actually the features of the face kind of like slid across when he was turning his head, and then he had a hat on, and that hat kind of did a flip instead of actually looking like it kind of turned in 3D space. And I commented saying, "Nice and smooth," but said, "But I don't know. I felt the old Disney stuff. I'm talking like from before the '80s had a better handle at giving depth. It seems the facial features slide around, and the hat just does a sort of flip rather than feeling like it's operating in 3D space." And I always noticed that. Or I don't know. I got like several. Like I got like eight likes or whatever on that post. So evidently, there's some people that actually agree with me with that. The old Disney animators really had a handle on 3D animation. I've seen good recent animation. If you see the trailer for the new Porky Pig, the day the Earth exploded or something like that, I forget. Um, or the day it was destroyed or something, I forget. Um, you'll notice it's a newer style of animation. Things are way more exaggerated. It's nice and smooth, but they don't show that have the weight and the depth and the like I said, the 3D presence, like three-dimensional objects in a 3D space that the old Disney animators had. And it's kind of a shame because even some of the best animation nowadays is to me isn't that great. It's still cool to look at, but it's not really as, I don't know, magical, or however you want to say it, as neat. It's a graphic design, and that's the point. Yeah. Okay. Okay. Give me another few minutes here, minute or two, so I can block some of these. Okay. What's next? Okay. Block. Well, I don't care about the person. I care about the it's a graphic design, and that's the point. Back to the post. It's a graphic design. That's the point. Okay, that's all right. That's doesn't really matter. Okay, or do. Okay, I guess I better I better start proper, right? Here, let's see my shortcut for the yeah, that's pretty good. And actually, the latency is not too bad here on Restream when it's up to date here. And actually, Rumbles is okay too. I always clock in YouTube as being like 20 seconds late or whatever. But yeah, so that's pretty cool. Okay, so let us okay, so here's the deal. Today I don't really exactly know what I'm gonna do per se. Okay, so this is what I want to do. Okay, so I got all the I got all the rooms in. They're JSONs. They load in just fine, and I can click on them. You don't actually click on them. You click on a number. You hit a number on the keyboard. So you can pick a choice. Okay, so now I need to make decision points, but figured that I can just basically like read through each card or each room, and I can decide if there needs to be a choice there, or I can map it visually. Now, if I map it visually, I'm bound to get more people looking or interested because I'm actually doing some visual instead of just dealing with a bunch of text, which is I'm gonna have to be doing here not too long from now, anyways. When I actually get all the decision points made, and I got it all implemented, then I'm gonna be spending a lot of time actually making some kind of prose with those rooms, so that they actually sound like a story like you're reading. They'll have descriptions. They'll introduce characters, have descriptions, have some dialogue. I'm gonna try not to make each room or each page or each node too descriptive, so that you don't have to read a whole lot. I know what that is. What it is. It's a reading thing because it's choose your own adventure. But I want to keep that limited. But that is going to take quite a bit of time. I figure it'd be better though if I did the decision tree stuff first, and so I should be adding some extra cards. There's a possibility. I guess I just call them cards because I'm thinking in my head. I'm kind of thinking, well, if I was laying this out like in the real world, I'd use like index cards, and I'd have the description written on the index card, and then I'd place them on either on a cork board or on the floor or on a piece of paper or something. And so I think of them as cards or pages sometimes, and not as rooms because conceptually, even though the data structure is called a room, conceptually they're not actually rooms yet because we're not to the point of where they're actual rooms. Right now, they're just pages that you read. You know, when they're actual rooms, they'll have items in there. They'll have it'll be a description, of course. Um, you'll be able to go back to the same location more than once instead of having to create a new card. And I'm going to be addressing that, I think, in phase three, the newly added phase three, which will allow me to revisit rooms, and that way I can have one room and say multiple decision sets, uh, multiple choice sets, depending on the context. So if I have to traverse back to some point, um, maybe there's some actual change in the room. Maybe I've unlocked the door, locked. Maybe I locked it. Maybe I unlocked the door, and now it needs to be remain unlocked. So instead of creating a new node or new page or new room, I use the same room, but then I have a different decision set. So you know, I won't exactly have it like that. If I was doing an unlocked door, because at this point I still won't have a state change, or that is, I still won't save the state of the room. In other words, the door unlocked. It's just that the choice is going to reflect that the door is already unlocked somehow. You know, there's a door to the north, and then um, would you like to go through the unlocked door or something? Whatever, because it'll be a different set of choices, but it'll be the same room. So, because there's a couple of places where you go to the same location, and the description text should be the same, but your choices might be different. I might have to think of a way of uh, maybe I'll have an addendum description text that you can add to it, so that way not only do you change the the choices, but you also change the description set, and so it'll have multiple description sets in the room. It's just like when it's a full text adventure and you have items. You pick up a pencil from the table, and now it's no longer on the table. But the description of the room is the same. There's a table, there's a room, blah blah blah, and then you look on the table and it's gone, right? That sort of thing. So phase three won't have a true like saved states. It won't have true state changes. It'll just be depending on where you are in the game. It'll use the same description text, but it won't use the same, like I said, choices and stuff. Anyways, let me get back to what I was thinking about doing here. Is I need to actually okay, okay. I need to actually um I need a way to map this out visually. I think. I mean, I don't strictly have to have it like that, but I think it would be kind of helpful and in the future. Plus, it will add a little bit of a visual element to the live stream, so that you're not just looking at text the whole time. Which is, I think, why some people might not be that interested in watching, because it's all just me talking about text. Anyways, I decided that I needed to change conversations, because Grok was starting to get the phases wrong. When the AI starts getting things wrong, it's about then at that point you should probably go to new conversation, because what is the old stuff is the old information, and now it's all being jumbled together. So since these LLMs are kind of like they're predictive, right? They try to predict what the next appropriate response is going to be, um, and it's based on your past conversation. So it's bound to start making these kind of weird inferences where it misremembers. I don't think it's the same as whatever they call those hallucination things, where it just makes up something. This is literally there's too much information, so that when it starts using it to process it, it kind of folds in on itself. So, um, you know, uh, kind of like that game of telephone, right? You whisper something to someone, and then they whisper it to somebody else, and then if you're like in a circle, they used to put kids in a circle in class or whatever, and they used to do this little game. that the person on the end of anyways, when it gets back to the original person, the word or phrase is completely different. And I think that's the way that the AIs or the LLM kind of things work. So they keep generating stuff, and they keep generating stuff based off of what you've already said, and eventually it comes back to where now you're trying to talk again about what you talked about originally, but now it's so changed over that uh, it's completely different, and it doesn't know anymore. It literally doesn't. And part of it's got to be have something to do with maybe limits on memory or something, right? Um, Now it should be able at any point to go back to the beginning of the conversation. And honestly, I don't know if they do this or not, but they when they make decisions, they should literally go back and essentially reread the conversation. In other words, start the conversation so that it has an idea of what you're trying to do. I think. I think it needs to go back and look, and so it doesn't make those kind of mistakes. Anywho, going off on tangent again. I need to figure out how to properly map this visually. And the easiest way, of course, is pencil and paper, right? You wouldn't be able to see a pencil and paper other than if I had a webcam pointed at me or something. But the one thing that I could do if I have to do it by hand is I could probably pull up Blender Grease Pencil and use that. Of course, I'll be hand drawing stuff. I'll be hand drawing boxes and stuff, and I'm not like I said, I'm not very good anymore. I'm not very good at regular drawing, and probably not very good off tablet drawing either. So, and at some point, I'm gonna have to do that anyways for my actual content for like characters and stuff. But we're not at that stage yet. So, I'm thinking I need to find something. I was thinking about maybe using Twine to um to visually map stuff because what they have these nodes. You put some text in it, then you make connections to other nodes, and you can build on it like that, which is kind of what I need to be able to do it visually. Grok suggested before when I asked it that I do something like draw.io, which has kind of like these quick and easy template deals where you can here. Let's see if I let's see where did I put that? Okay, and it's actually draw.io goes to this app.diagrams.net. Um, so this diagram thing, like, okay, so I got text in there, and I can place the text anywhere, and but honestly, I just need the text, right? I actually don't technically need like a rectangle to do it in, but I could still do a rectangle to do it in. Now, the problem here is, um, um, okay, so one problem here is this looks like the size of a paper, right? Let's see. Can we zoom in? I wonder if there's a way to zoom in here. Got a zoom tool? Yeah, we do. Now, where did it? Okay, so where did the text come in? I played with this just slightly yesterday, but where can I add text? I forget text here. How do you add text though? That's what I want to know. Line color. Um, How do you add text? I know I did it before, I just don't know how I did it. Um, view, edit. Well, it does have some sort of, darn it, come on. Okay, so it has a text tool someplace. Oh, that's this. Okay, that's this. Now, can I change? Where's the size here? Now that's tiny text, which is fine. So let's zoom in. Okay. Let's do something here. Does it do infinite zoom out or does it just do a zoom out? Well, it does seem to zoom out pretty good, but what would be nice is if this canvas here was infinite and diagram language, huh? Interesting. Edit style, edit geometry, edit data. New. Okay. Blank diagram, generate class diagram, swim lane. Huh. Flowchart. Oh, so I can do different kinds of things in here. Simple Kanban board. I don't really know much about Kanban, honestly. Mind maps, I might look at that. Uh, placeholders. Entity relations. That might be entity relationship sequence diagram. Swim lane. I don't know what that is. Or oh wait a second. Org chart. That might be something. What's class diagram? Class diagram is kind of the same way, sort of. The only thing is, describe your diagram. What does that mean? Okay. Enter text query in the template manager. Dryo submits it to a large language model, which processes your query and returns a diagram of mermaid tracks. Dryo then converts this to a pre-built-in draw.io shape so you can install and unique your diagram easily after you add the generated template to the canvas. That's kind of cool. Uh, generate. Okay, open. Click on the generate box. Choose diagram. Yeah, I know my face is glowing, so forgive that. Forgive that because it's partly to do with the low lighting and there's a lot of light coming off of my monitor. It's so close to my face and it's pretty big and so it's just pure white coming off here. So now my face looks like a ghost or something. So forgive me for that. Um, okay, where is all right. Hold on a sec. There we go. Let's put that in there. Okay, let's go back over here. Okay, generate diagram. Okay, so really I need to diagram, and I might still use draw.io. It might be just fine here because it looks like I can do different types of deals. Choose a diagram type, generate it fast from the go. And honestly, if I do the describe your diagram, it might turn out to be more like the organization chart because honestly, I'd be doing choices like so choices, so that sort of thing. Huh. Describe your diagram, huh? Mm. I need a that out. The choices is your own adventure style game. Actually, let's just go to org chart. Let's try that. Let's create. See what happens. Oh, and it's literally like an organization chart. Okay. File new. I need something similar to an org chart where um, map out decision points in my choose your own venture style game where you start out with a description and one or more choices which leads to other pages. A page that has a description, has a title, a description, and one or more choices, which leads to other pages. Sort of tree. Like, I don't even know if this was gonna if this is gonna be able to do anything here, but huh. Let's say create. Let's see what happens. Square rect, link text, rhombus, round rect. Interesting. That's not exactly what I want, but hey, that's not a bad idea. Okay, let's go new again. I'm gonna see if I can't. Okay, so this is basic smart template. Describe your diagram. Huh. Journey, Gantt, Pie, Git graph. Interesting. Business. Preview. Task. Huh, that's not too bad. Yeah. I don't know, I'm just kind of going through here trying to see if there's something that will work for my needs here before actually asking ChatGPT to give me a help here. It's probably something like these. Let's preview that. Uh, hold on, it's Discord. Oh, people have been giving me likes, I think. Well, that's not that what that is. This is actually I don't. What the? Got it. Close. Stop watching. Don't show me this again. I don't care here. I want to stop. How do I turn this stupid thing off? Dang. Here, I'm gonna have to exit Discord. Just give me a sec here. It's trying to go to a certain thing here, the notification, and then don't show me this again. Got it. You're in a voice. No, I don't want to reconnect to the voice channel. Why is there? Hold on. I don't know what that's about. Okay, wait, oh, wait, whatever. Go back to Greggy here. Okay, well, whatever. Hopefully it's not stopping, it's not screwing up my streaming here. Streaming seems to be doing okay still. That ticks me off. Okay, anyways, let's. Well, I guess everything seems to be okay. Anyways, now what was I doing? Okay, so let's. I'm trying to see if I can come up with a. Okay, a preview organization chart, which is similar to what I want, but it's not. I'm not doing some sort of organization dealing. What is this one? Subproject one. Okay. Cloud. What's this cloud stuff? I don't care about cloud. Engineering. Flowcharts. Because technically speaking, it might be a flowchart. I mean, I guess I could use a flowchart. I don't remember the exact. I mean, I get the diamond is a decision. Diamond's actually a decision point, or it's asks you a question. Do you want to go here? Do you want to go here? You know. So it's not exactly like a flowchart either. Try maps. Starting node, relation, node 1, node 2, node 3, node 4, node 8. Yeah, it's probably closer to that, sort of. I need something I can put text in, though, but topic. He's like, okay, let's try this one. Head development, research. It's still kind of oh, I see, it's sitemap, right? Something like that. Network. Non-network chart here. What's this one? Okay. It's really kind of a cool site, though. Gotta give it that. You can almost do blueprints here, huh? Wide diagrams. Maybe I should get Grok to help me figure out what kind of diagram I'm looking for. This is in other. Okay, software. Okay, well maybe the software one would be more apt, right? Class, okay, that's fine. Same thing there. This is all specifically for like code, right? This is closer. This is quite a bit closer. But it's more like an organizational chart, but where I get to put stuff in the box. Hmm. Just trying to find and see if there is at least something that is similar to what I need. Function object. Interesting. Tables. UML. Venn diagram. Huh. So basic. Basically, you're kind of going closer to a flow chart or organizational chart. That's really what you're looking for. It's like, okay, so what if I pick this and this class diagram? Class diagram might work though, because of what I'm doing. Let's see something here. What if I just click it? Great. I don't care if I made changes to it. I want to. Can you like change the text in here or like this says email address? Whoop. And what is this? Just a basic text deal? Heading. File, new, do a blank. We'll create a blank again. I'm gonna do this. Text stuff here. I need something like this, but I need to be able to see this is okay, so what I wonder here is that other one's text, but this is a heading with text, right? So how do you edit the heading? Text. Hmm. It's like you gotta kind of already know what you're doing to be able to do stuff here. So yeah, I don't know if I'll even get anything done today because of that. I guess I should eat help. I don't really need support. I just need my idea about using it, how to use it, kind of thing. Leave, leave. Great. Okay. Quick start video. Just give me a sec here while I play this. I don't have the desktop audio on, so you can't hear it. Huh. Interesting. Huh. Huh. Interesting. Interesting. I don't care about adding an image. Anyways, yeah. So, Draw.io, they've got their own, let's see, videos. Build a floor plan, sketch and refine your process, Lincoln, and the big picture. Most of you get how to create and use custom templates, advanced app edition, how to customize the Draw.io editor. Huh. Hmm. Okay, well, I need something to help me figure this out, or I'm gonna have to figure something else out. Okay, presuming you don't have access to the previous conversations, I'm making an adventure game in phases, and the first phase starts out as a choose your own uh, adventure style game. Have the framework in Redot, a fork of Godot, uh, that allows me to load up rooms and switch based on the keyboard. So that's all working. I've got 92 rooms. Essentially, room consists of um, a name and description, and then a set of choices in the form of door nodes which hold a destination room name. These rooms are in JSON format, and they get loaded into the actual game. this is working fine, except now I need to start making it so that it has decision points that allow you to go one way or another. I need to visually chart this, and one of your suggestions was draw.io, which I'm looking. Okay. We chart this decision tree or node tree. Any suggestions? We'll do like that. Graph is free open source. Yeah, but you can write a simple script to convert your JSON into the dot language format. Then use GraphViz to render it as an image. Pros: automated, scalable, and integrates with code workflows. Could do that. Cons: requires some scripting to parse your JSON. The output might need tweaking for readability with 92 nodes. Yeah. Unless I could do it all in one image. If it can do it all in one image, then I could probably load it into something. YED or YED graph editor. Free desktop application with a friendly user interface. You can manually input your rooms or choices or import your JSON data with some pre-processing in the compatible format like Graph, ML, or CSV. Pros: great for manual adjustments and layouts. Cons: manual entry could be time consuming for 92 rooms unless you automate the import. Okay. You know what? A long time ago, pardon me for yawning, but a long time ago, I think I actually looked at YED or YED. Um, let's see, what I got? Notification. 1 minute ad, yeah. Um, editor. I think I actually looked at this at some point a long time ago. Ooh, green. Uh, freely available. Current versions. Check your version. Windows. It's got Linux. Okay, that's cool. The diagram editor for Confluence. I don't know what that means. High quality diagrams quickly and effectively and arrange them for automatic layout. Algorithms. Press next to learn the basics. Drag and drop items. Change their styling. Utilize their automatic layout functions to create diagrams with ease. Was this a video? Okay. 1 second. That's funny. I can hear myself multiple times. Okay. There's no audio here, which is fine. Yeah, let's full screen that for a sec. Quick sec here. Overview. Node shapes. Oh, interesting. My question is, can you draw text in this thing? Sample diagram. Some graphs to get an impression into the variety in graph drawing. I don't care. Let's continue. It doesn't matter. This is something close to what I want, actually. Except for now, I do need to put, like, text into it, so... I see. Huh. Okay, interesting. Okay. Nodes, flowchart nodes, mind map, network nodes, people groups, entity, table, edges, straight line edges, computers, emojis. Oh, I see. Interesting. Okay, so yeah, but can we do properties? Okay, that's properties diagram. Edge crossings. Huh. What do we got up here? I see. Cut, copy, duplicate, delete, zoom factor. Huh. Text goes here. Except you can't see. Oh. Oh, okay. That kind of makes sense. I need some. Okay, so I could spend hours just playing in here, right? I could write down some of my text, and I have to copy it text by text. Need something a little bit more automated than that. Oh, you know what I forgot? Ooh, I know what I forgot. Now, okay, so what time is it? Let's say I started at 11:30, so I've been gone an hour. Um, 11:30, 11:30 to 1:30, 11:30 to 1. That's 1.5 hours. Then the 2, and then the 3:30. Almost time for my break for today. I'm just kind of trying to do these lists a little bit differently here, and that means most of my sessions are going to be like only 3 hours. I might start throwing in the super secret stream, and all that means is I don't like post it everywhere. I just start it, and so I can actually go ahead and so I can actually do a little bit more like at night or something. I mean, if I start going to bed at a normal time like I'm supposed to, then I won't have any time at night to do anything extra. But it kind of needs to be this way right now because I got lots of stuff that I need to do, like the lawn and whatever. So it's a lot of work. Anywho, I do need to get something done today, so yeah. Leave. Okay. Java.io. Let's go back to Grok. Two mind mapping tools: Mirror or Lucid Charts. Create flowcharts or mind maps. Drag and drop each room as a node. Connect them with labeled arrows for choices. Pros easy to use, visually appealing. You can zoom in or out for large trees. Any process will link you write a script to export JSON to their API if supported. Xmine or FreeMind, desktop mind mapping software, some of the Miro. Less suited for complex graphs with loops unless you adapt it. Coding a custom visualization, since you're using Redot, you already have a JSON structure. You could create a visualization within your game engine. Build a simple editor scene in Redot where each room is a node. A node 2D or control with label. And yeah, in fact, that's what that one text-based adventure game in Godot actually did. He actually wrote you set it up as a tool or whatever. Your class is a tool or whatever, and then you're able to actually visually like represent your rooms and stuff. Simple editor scene in Godot where each room is a node, and choices are drawn as lines or arrows using Line 2D or custom drawing. Parse JSON file and dynamically generate the layout using a force-directed graph algorithm or grid layout. Fully integrated with your project reasonable cons requires coding effort to implement the layout algorithm. It may not be as polished as dedicated tools initially. That could be a way to do it, right? Let's see. I have a so like I have the room class, right? So I could have it be a yeah, it'd be a special editor node. Let's see. Let me think for a sec. I mean, what it'd have to do is it'd have to load in all the rooms though in there, as if I had done it in the editor, and then I'd add it. But then I'd also have to have code that would export the rooms as JSON. Huh, that might be a good idea though. Draw.io, free browser-based flowchart tool, manually create boxes for rooms, arrows, and choices. Simple, no setup, exportable images or SVGs. Manual and time-intensive for 92 rooms. Physical sketch. Sketch it out on paper. Cons, not scalable or maintainable long-term. Use your setup. I'd suggest a hybrid approach short-term. Use draw.io. Write a script to convert your JSON into a graphviz file. Custom Redot visualization scene. It scales better for 92 rooms with feature expansions. For GraphViz, a Python script like this would work. Could work. What's interesting is there is a tutorial series on making a text adventure, i.e. with a text parser, where he uses Godot and somehow defines the game objects as editor tools so that he can simply create the rooms as 2D nodes with boxes, a title, and so forth to lay out visually, which actually creates the rooms. But the way I have this set up is that I'm using the JSON loading in dynamically. I'm using JSON loading in dynamically. Yeah, yeah, you know, yeah. I did all that stuff with JSON, and you know, I could have done what he did in that tutorial. That means that everything using JSON loading in dynamically. I'm using the JSON loading in dynamically. So I could almost definitely do that. However, I would have to completely recreate the rooms in Redot. I'm not sure what the best way to go is. Uh, level design tool interpreted at runtime. Since you're using Redot, you could absolutely adapt this idea and consider the challenge of, but you're right to consider the challenge of recreating your 92 JSON defined room. Let's break this down and explore your options. If I could get Redot to actually export the room data as JSON, and I could actually get it to when it loads up the JSON to actually let me say it. I could get it to read the JSON, parse it, and then dynamically create the nodes. See, how do I do that? Because it'd have to be in the editor. I need it to actually be able to read the JSON, create the nodes, put them into the editor dynamically, so that I can edit them if I want to. I don't know if that's possible, but use Godot's editor to visually place. Visual design, editor integration, JSON parsing, extensibility. Adapt the tutorial, import JSON into Redot. Instead of manually recreating all 92 rooms, you write a script to import your JSON data into a Redot scene, generating the visual nodes automatically. Here's how. Create a room script in Redot. Uh, Optionally attach a node 2D or control base for visual positioning. Yeah. And that would only be for the editor. That would not be for in-game. Although you can do it for in-game too, but in-game, the nature of this is that the nature of this is um, what was I saying? I forgot what I was saying. Write import script. Room nodes in a scene. Run the script once to populate a scene, then save it as a tscene file. Now I do have the thing where I actually have it able to load tscene files with my deal already. So if I attach to some sort of visual, oh yeah, what I was saying is he actually used those the Node 2D to actually put it on the screen, and so while you could also put it in the editor, you could create new rooms in there in the editor, and then save it, and then it would load them in the game, including the exits and stuff because of the way you defined it. I wouldn't necessarily be using that. I'd still need this detached, the data detached from the actual implementation because later on, I'm not going to be using Node 2D and I mean I could, but for instance, a label, right? I won't necessarily have a specific label, and I'd have something else. I'd have a I'm gonna have a characters graphically walking in the scene, right? The scene is going to either be a 2D background or something else, right? And huh. Shoot, I could do everything in editor though, couldn't I? And it would actually, huh. I mean, I kind of should have thought of that in the first place, but yeah, well, that'd be a scene and stuff, and then I'd have to go in. I, don't, I mean, I guess I kind of made it needlessly complicated, because a room, we'll say a room has a 3D object for the background, a 3D background essentially. Even if it was just like a height map and something that showed depth, but it was still like 2D painted, um, it'd be like, yeah, you'll have a model in the scene. You'll have sprites, character sprites. You'll have, there'll be lots of different things that go into a room. That displaying it would be separate, and so, hmm, yeah, I'm not sure. Use scene data instead of JSON. Stick with JSON and visualize externally. You're intrigued by the tutorial's visual editor. Share the link. Yeah, it's. I don't think it's able to look at YouTube videos though. I mean, I tried that before. Let's see if I can pull this up here. Um, let's see, YouTube tutorials. Watched retro text adventure. It would be that one. That's a playlist. User input. Writing a command parser. Adding rooms. Creating exits between rooms. How to use tool scripts and resources in Godot. And this is probably one. Here, let me take a quick look at this one. Hmm. Just a sec. Let's see what he's doing here. Just a sec. Okay. This is an older version of Godot. It's like three something, but yeah. Apologies for not speaking here, because I'm trying to find a specific spot. I'm trying to find a specific video in here, and what it does is it turns these rooms here, these deals into actual somehow into actual editor tool, so that way you can manipulate them. I don't know how to say it. So let's see if I can get to it first. Okay, adding the exits it might be the deal. Okay, well, I know there's much to watch here or listen here when I'm actually watching a tutorial. Um, I'm gonna find a way of actually still making progress here today, but what I'm going to do is I gotta take my break here, in fact, and then I'll be back in about 30 minutes. I'm making a 30-minute break, so to 1:30. I'll be back at 1:30, and we'll see. Uh, Maybe during my break, maybe I'll be looking at this tutorial so I can get up to the, the place I want because if I can turn Redot into the actual editor for my game, then I'd probably do that. Let me think. Let me think though for a second because now I'll have to go on my break and then I'll be right back. I'll be back. Be back in 30 minutes, and that's well, I can say that's a promise. I don't know if it'll be a promise. I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try really hard to be back at exactly 1:30 my time, and that's exactly it's a little less than half an hour right now. So okay, so see you on the other side of the break. Okay, everybody, I am back. Um, yep, and there's nobody in here, which is expected. Okay, so what I think, okay, I didn't really remember exactly what the tool thing was actually about, but I think what it is you can add stuff if you make it a tool like a tool class. You can add nodes and things that don't necessarily end up going into your game or don't show up in your game, but show up in the editor. I think that's the way that works. I'm not 100% positive. In any case, I am going to skip through this video here a little bit. Of course, sound is off on purpose because I'm not really trying to show the deal. Um, just if you want to look this up, JMBIV, and it's like retro text adventure in Godot. So how to make a retro text adventure in Godot. So give me a quick sec here. I gotta go through it. I had to take my break, and anyways, I'm back here. Um, See if I can get a little something done today, hopefully. Okay, I'm not really interested in his actual exit thing. Okay, let me jump to the next. Let me jump to the next. Oh, that's what it's for. And they don't do set gets like that anymore. In fact, they separate them, and then what happens is from then on, it doesn't matter if you're local to the class or not. It will always use the accessor function. It won't use the variable directly, which is something you got to kind of keep in mind when you're doing something like that. That's one thing I learned, even though I didn't actually end up using that. Anyways. Oh, let's go back to where he's calling it. He's making it tool. Okay. Okay, I had it completely wrong about what this did. Okay, so making the script a tool script means that you can have it, like he said, update in real time. In other words, he's going to type in the export variable, he's going to type in the thing, and it's going to update what is actually displayed on in the room. I didn't really get that before, and so now I'm kind of thinking about how to do this because before what I was doing was okay. So I had these rooms in text, right, and um, I realized that if I was doing, if they were all external scene files, I'd have 92 scene files that I'd have to create, and I have to do it in Engine, and I have to do it manually. But I have the text already written up for this, so I needed a way to actually get it into the program without having to manually create these scene files. Well, you can do this dynamically, which is what I'm actually doing. I'm actually doing it dynamically by I took that text, had actually had Grok write each room text as JSON, separate JSON objects, and then had it help me write a script to take and split it into individual files. So now we have 92 individual files, room objects in JSON format that I then load, I parse it, and then I create my room nodes dynamically, including the doors, and uh, and then that's how that works. Okay, so part of the deal was finding a way to automate it so that I wouldn't actually have to manually create the scene files. Okay, so now we're to a point of where I have to recreate this. I have to. I don't strictly need it, but it'd be nice to have something where I could visually lay it out. Like I could visually lay it out in there, and actually I could do that manually. I could lay it out in Godot manually. Um, so okay, so this is what I'm thinking. If a tool script does that, if tool script makes it to where um, you can edit stuff. In this case, I don't know the full extent of the tool script. In fact, I should go read up on in the docs about it. But so tool script enabled it to where he could he could take the room name and the room description, and he could type it in, and it would update in real time. So here's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking, why not, if possible, it might not be possible, but why not? Let me think this through. So why not have a tool script dynamically create these scenes, put these scenes into somehow into the editor so that I can see it just like this. So I'd have a control node. I'd have these nodes and stuff that I create, um, and maybe actually what I do is now I take my room class and I would change it. I would add the the uh, the uh, the panel nodes to it so it has the name and description in there. I have a viewer node that actually takes and copies the description text over to the viewer node. Now I can still do that, and I can still use that in order to keep this room stuff separate from the actual display, because eventually I'm going to be doing it separate anyways. But I could still keep this format for being able to use the Redot editor to actually edit my room layouts. Right? I can create connections, and I can create new deals, and then I could find a way. I don't know how to do it, but I can find a way to actually uh, so I make it a tool script, and then what it will do is first it will load up. Okay, so first my room class is going to have a control node or It's gonna have some like node 2D or something, right? Panel, like a panel node or whatever, so that I can have that separation. VBox, just basically what he actually did in this tutorial. So, um, so how do I say this? I create the room node from the JSON, and then the JSON loads it in, and the JSON copies it to this panel text, this actual 2D node that's actually in the room class. And then that way I could display it. Now I still need something to display it. In other words, I need a like its own viewer node. It'd be like the viewer node that I have in my game already. In fact, let's pull that up here. Let's see, documents, dev stuff, Redot, and Redot. And then let's open channel lines phase 1. Okay. Now, let's not think about the door class right this second. We might have to even do something with that. Okay. So now, essentially, what I'd have is I'd have these little 2D panel deals that would be in here, so that when I created the room, they would have 2D display. Now, I'd still need. Where's my base scene? Actually, it's kind of interesting because I can still load scenes, regular scenes too, as rooms using the room script or whatever. But let's go to the base scene here, and I attached the room manager. Okay, let's go to the room manager then. Where is the room manager? Room manager here. Room viewer is actually a 2D node. It's actually its own scene. So let's go to the room viewer. The room viewer is just this description. It's just this control node and this label, right? So in effect, I could have this kind of thing on every room then, and it would get populated when I loaded the JSON, right? So then I would have something that is displayable that I could put somewhere. Now, the deal here is that we'd want to find a way of placing them on the screen in the editor in the 2D. Let's go to the 2D editor. Right, this is just the description text here. In fact, all this room viewer is a description text, basically. Now let me think. What was it? How was I saying it? Um, Now I need something attached to where it doesn't show it in game on screen, but somehow still shows it in the editor. Like I'd have let's zoom out. Actually, you know what? I could just do it just like he does it in the tutorial. Because in the tutorial he's got his own like display thing, right? He actually displays the actual display. It's got the command line thing down here at the bottom, and then it's got the description text and the exits and all this up at the top. It's the actual text box up here. And then he puts the rooms up here. So I could do the same thing. I could actually put that in my room viewer node. So I could attach this. I could attach all these room viewer nodes to the viewer node, and it would exist up here. I don't know if that would work out as a proper tool, but anyways, I could attach it and I could place it above or below. I actually could place it below. Might make more sense. But it would have to automatically do it. This is what I don't know if I can do or if it can do. Where it's basically I'm in chat, right? Okay. Anyways, where basically it loads it dynamically. It adds the now if I made it a tool node, then it should work. I don't know what to make the tool script though. If I make the room the tool script, or if I'd make the a script for the viewer as a tool script. And yeah, so I don't really know exactly how that would work, but I'm guessing I would attach a script here to the room viewer. Now the room viewer doesn't have a script because it's not doing anything. It's not processing anything. I just grab the viewer node and then I copy the text from the description from the room to the viewer node. But um, let's see if I could. Yeah, I'm not really sure how that would work for sure or not. In fact, let me go back to the tutorial. I know you can't hear it, but I'm kind of doing that on purpose. But bear with me if you're watching either watching through the stream or watching after the fact. Um, there we go. Let's go back to this and let me play it for just a second. He's got a script. He's got a script for his. Well, I got a room manager script too, but for each of his rooms, he's got a script attached to him. And in this case, I might have. I do. Let's see. I don't have a. We don't have scripts attached to the room nodes, do we? No, the room is a class, so it does have a script though. Okay, and I can use that. So in a sense, that is a script, right? A room node script. So I could make it a tool script. I don't know. So he's saying because I don't have the audio on, he's saying that the Godot editor is actually technically a Godot game. In other words, the editor was made using Godot, uh, and it uses Godot to actually render the editor. So it's just like you made a game. Like I could make another like a Redot editor out of Redot. So there's existing Redot, and I could make my own editor from scratch using Redot components, and it itself would be its own Redot editor if I wanted to do it that way. See, I know you didn't hear that, but it says by making it a tool script, you're actually having it run in the editor, not just in the game itself. So that way you can update stuff, you can do stuff. I suppose that means you could technically make a game within a game, you might say. A game within the editor itself. In other words, I might have a 2D control. I might make it a tool script, 2D control node, and add it to my scene, and I'd be able to control it and everything. I mean, I don't know if that's true, but it's the way it sounds, anyways. saying not to. It was just saying not to. When you make it a tool script, not to do anything like free remove scenes or free memory or whatever, because you can kind of screw stuff up in your game if you do that, or probably in the editor, I suppose. So you want to kind of be careful about that. Hmm. Huh. So actually, he's just um, he's building a way to be able to edit the these variables that are exposed right now in the inspector and have it update in the editor in real time, and that's why he made the room a tool script, the room script a tool script. See the okay, so the room viewer doesn't have a script, but you know what? I could okay, so there's a couple things. I could give it a script. Um, Let me think for a second. I don't know if I give my room viewer a script. What would happen if I made my room's uh, scripts into tool scripts? Well, for one thing, it can modify whatever's connected to it, right? So if I decided to create a panel, its own, let's say its own viewer panel, basically. So it's basically what I have in the room viewer node, but now each room uh, node has this built in, and then so I use a script and then the I update its viewer there, and then somehow I attach it dynamically to the room viewer script. Now we already I think I do it via the room manager though, not via the room itself. So the attaching goes through that. So what I could do is yeah. Let me think here for a second. Do I need to make it a tool script then to do that? Having it run in the editor because that's not really what I'm trying to do, is it? What am I trying to do? Okay, so the room could still have its own its own viewer nodes essentially, like the main one has, and then I attach the room viewer nodes to the main viewer node so that I can see that in the editor. Okay, that kind of makes sense. Do I still make it a tool script because I'm not having it like modify or update anything? I might, I might, because if I do this the way I'm thinking I'm doing it, um, I'm going to be loading the JSON, and after I load the JSON and create the room, I'm going to take the actual room uh, info, and I'm going to put it into the visual room node. And basically, what I want to do here is I simply want, yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I even know what I'm talking about. See, that's kind of the problem. That's the problem that happens a lot when I'm making games. So, I might hit the spot where I can't get to do what I want, and I'll stall, and I don't want to stall this time. In fact, I don't want to stall today. I don't want to. I want to at least have some progress in here today, even if I have to change it later. But so okay, so what would I ultimately want to do? Ultimately, I want to be able to edit a room in the editor, in the Redot editor, visually, and then have it generate the files. And in fact, so I don't have to have a separate editor. I can use the Redot editor as the game editor. Now in 2D it would be a lot easier. If it was just straight up 2D, then I can make an actual Redot scene. I can put stuff in the scene, and I would build it kind of like you would build it anyways. You build your rooms visually. I add items into it. Let's think about that for a second. Okay. So the first thing I had is I had it not as a scene. It wasn't a scene originally. It was just I was just creating rooms. I'd add the room to the deal, and then the viewer here. Um, and what how I would build the game originally was here. Let's go to base scene, I guess. Yeah. Okay. So let's go to the room manager. So under room manager originally, where's room manager? Here we go. Oh, yeah. Under room manager originally, I had the rooms here, and so I had a bunch of room nodes basically in there. And okay, so here was the deal. Now, I was going off in another tutorial where it was using nodes as data, and essentially was saying how you could create a choose your own adventure by doing that, by making a tree. And so you'd have the scene tree here, and you'd have all the rooms there. There'd be a ton of rooms, and then I was having it move from room to room by first checking the children to see what it's connected to, and then it would go to the destination, and then it would go back based on your choice. Um, and what was the problem? The problem was is that I couldn't get to go to any room I wanted. I have to somehow traverse the tree, basically the whole node tree. I'd have to traverse it, which means I'd have to do a function that would actually it would have to go through the parents. I'd have to check each of their children. I'm sure with a bunch of rooms it'd be really really slow to where it didn't make sense to have everything. Like I have 92 rooms right now, and I'm at least have that many, and probably at maybe twice that many. We're gonna say 200 actual different room nodes essentially. So that would get pretty unwieldy. Uh, Trying to navigate, trying to Now, I know you're just going to the next one or going to the previous one, but if I ever wanted to do anything else, I'd have to, I'd have to do some advanced like code that searches through everything. I mean, I could have done it this way, I guess, and maybe it would might have made sense to do it that way at some point. So then what happened is I changed them to scene files, each room into scene files. So it was still like underneath the room manager, but now there were individual scene files like you have here. Like you have you know, where's main menu here? Main menu. So you have this and now it's a scene file, right? And so I'd have like 92 of these scene files that I'd have to go through, and so either I could put them all under the same thing, or I could do the tree-like structure, and I'd still have to know how to get back. So if I wanted to get back and keep going back, I'd have to um, hmm, I'd have to have some sort of exit that allows me to go back up through the scenes. I don't know. I'm right now. I'm starting to question whether or not uh, doing this is like the best approach to it. Especially if I want to do everything in the editor, in the sense that I want a visual representation in the editor to be able to place scenes visually and use the editor for as the game editor rather than some external. Because at some point I'd have to create a system. I'd have to create like a tool that would place objects and scenes and stuff, and that still might be the way to go. But it would have made it easier if I could have done everything in editor. The other thing I could think about is not worrying about this, not worrying about the layout in there, but actually creating my own tool. I could use Redot to create a tool that would actually do this for me. I wonder how hard that would be, because in the end, it's going to be there's going to be a system and stuff in place, right? I don't know. If I was starting this out as a fully 3D but still a point and click adventure, I'd have a room system. I'd have it be able to switch through rooms. I still might need an external editor to put them together, but each room would be probably made in Redot, right? I'd place 3D placement. I'd place stuff there, and then have it work. And so now I'm kind of going, well, what's the best way to go about this? And this is how I get stuck, and this is how I stop projects. And I don't want to do that this time. Maybe I should have asked Rock here um, if if it has any suggestions. Okay. Well, now I'm questioning myself about the best way to go about all of this. Totally normal to feel uncertain when you cross road and security of the project. Scope and effort, workflow preference. Okay. I was wrong about what the tutorial um, did. Basically, a tool script is one that runs within the Godot, or in this case, Redot editor. So he had different room nodes in the project that would display default values. even when he exposed them to the inspector. So by making it a tool script, he could update the text in real time, and it would reflect in the editor. That makes a lot of sense now. It's just about creating rooms as nodes, but using the tool script in Godot to make the editor live design document. A tool script in Godot, presumably Redot, is a script with the tool keyword which lets it execute in the editor, not just at runtime. This means you can see updates like room names, descriptions, or connections reflected in real time in the inspector or scene view as you tweak them. It's a clever way to build custom game without game editor within Redot itself. So the tutorial sounds like he created a room node type with properties, name, description, choices. Well, in his case, exits, but yeah, it's the same general idea. Attach a tool script to it using tool so that changes these properties update the editor UI immediately, displaying the room's title and the label. Use the inspector to edit these nodes with the default values showing up and then live updates as he worked. This approach is powerful because it turns Redot into both your design tool and runtime edge without needing external files like JSON, although you can still integrate them. Since you misremembered it initially, I'm guessing the real-time editor aspect caught your attention and sparked some of your current questioning. So let's figure out your next move. How does this apply to your project? You got 92 rooms in JSON, with a working system to load and switch between them in Redot. The tutorial's tool script approach could either replace or enhance that, depending on how far you want to pivot, but here's how it connects to your goals. Alright, what you can do with tool script. Create a room node with tool script, right? Add a label or other visual child node to display the room name in the editor. Visualize in the editor. Place these room nodes in a scene manually or via script. Use the tool script to draw connections, e.g. with line 2D between rooms based on choices updating as you live edit. Yes. Write one-time script to convert your 92 JSON rooms into room nodes in a scene, preserving your work. I could actually probably do that. File access, open rooms, scene, get scene, preload room.t scene, instantiate room.room name equals room's name, room's description, room's choices, position, add child. Actually, that is correct. And like I was saying here, I could actually have that attach itself to the room viewer node. The room viewer is just a display to display the text, but then I could have it populate the room viewer node outside the visual area of the game, of the window or whatever, and these rooms would appear inside uh, the editor that ways. Huh, okay. Run this from the editor via script run, save the scene, add decision points, extend the choices array to include conditions, update your runtime code to check these conditions before allowing transitions. What this gets you, real-time feedback, edit room details in the inspector and see them update instantly in the editor, name unlaid connections drawn, visual tree, lay out your 92 rooms in the 2D editor manually or with a scripted layout to see the decision tree. No JSON dependency. Once imported, you could ditch the JSON and design directly in a Redot, although you could still export back to JSON if needed. And that's kind of what I was thinking. This is kind of a roundabout way to do stuff, but it might kind of make sense to do this. So let's say I did that. So let's say I took the JSONs, loaded them in, made them tool scripts, attached them to my room viewer node so I could see them in the editor. And in fact, the tutorial, I'll have to get to that part, but the tutorial actually says there's a way you can make it only run in the editor and not in the game. And if I can do that, then this part, the attaching to the room viewer node, would only be in the game then. And then what I do is let's say I edited it in the inspector. Let's say I added a new room and I did it, and I saved it. Um, Maybe I could get it to save the room back to JSON and add it as an individual room file. I still need to come up with a name or create a name for it, an actual room name, but it would save out the JSON information so that I could load it up in later, maybe. Slick integrated is a shift from your JSON-based workflow. You might be wondering, is it worth redoing my rooms? Importing via script minimizes effort, but laying them out visually could still take time. Will it scale with 92 rooms? The editor might get cluttered unless you organize them in subscenes or with a zoomable view. Do I lose flexibility? JSON is easy to edit in bulk or share. The editor is more visual but less scriptable outside Redot. My recommendations, since you are intrigued by the tool script idea, already have a working JSON system, I suggest a phased approach to test it without fully committing. Prototype a small set. Create a room node with a tool script as above. Manually make 3 to 5 rooms in a test scene to see how the real-time updates feel. Add a simple decision point, e.g. choice that's only available with a condition. Import a subset. Use the import script. Honestly, I don't even have to use the... Well, okay, so if I'm trying to parse the rooms, here, I'll tell it here what I've got so far. Arrange the editor, tweak, test. Okay, so let me tell it. I don't know if I should tell it about the tscene files. So while I was making this work, I kept the scene system in. That is, I had started out with tscene files that were composed of room and door nodes. Doors are just nodes with the choice you make 1 through 9 and a destination file name. And in fact, I've added a doors array to the room node, to the room class, so that I can access them easily from the room node itself. And what it does when it loads a tscene file, what it does when it loads a tscene file, so that I can access them easily from the room node. It just simply iterates through the children, and adds them as doors to the doors array in the room. So if I load from JSON, it has the door information in the JSON object. But if I load it from tscene files where the doors are child nodes, I simply take each child node and add them to the doors array. Okay, see if it understands that. Scene-based. Rooms are defined as tscene files with a room node as the root. Door nodes are children of the room node with properties like a choice, 1 through 9, and a destination, file name of another room. When loading a T scene, your code iterates through the room's children, collects the door nodes, and adds them to the doors array in the room class. Rooms are stored in JSON file with each object containing a doors array. When loading from JSON, doors array is populated directly from the JSON data. Room class has a doors array that standardizes access to door data, whether loaded from TScene, children, or JSON. Your loading logic bridges the two. For TScene, it iterates to children, builds the doors array. For JSON, it uses a predefined doors array from the file. Solid Foundation keeps your original scene system intact while adapting it to coexist with JSON, giving you flexibility to design rooms either way. Now that you're adding decision points, if you want to visualize the node tree, the setup gives some interesting options. Since you're still interested in the tool script idea from the tutorial, real-time editor updates, and need a visual decision tree, your hybrid system could play both strengths. Here's how. Enhance the room node with toolscript. You can make your room node a live editable entity in Redot editor by editing a toolscript. This will let you tweak the room details, including doors, in real time. What this does, in the editor, updates a label or other visual with the room's name and door count live as you edit. At runtime, populates doors from child nodes for TScene loading and uses pre-filled array for JSON. Add child door nodes manually in the editor or import them from JSON to see them reflected instantly. Import JSON into scenes. With this workflow, it just does create a scene with all 92 rooms as nodes, position in a grid, populates each room's doors. The manual layout, drag them around 2D editor to form a tree. Scripted layout, add a tool script function to draw lines between. Okay, add decision points, extend the doors dictionary to include conditions, where you're at. Make your room node, update its name or door count in the editor. Tweak test. Okay. Okay, so here's the issue. Not really a problem exactly, it's just something I have to figure out. Okay, so here's the issue. Room nodes are not in the editor at all. They exist solely as tscene files or JSON data, and added as children, but they don't display anywhere. Now, I believe. Let me look at this again then. I believe. I want to go to the script. I want to check out the room manager. Room. This creates a room. Room manager calls it load room. Okay, pen doors. This has to. Okay, so change room actually adds the child. So this is not the main menu. This is the room manager. So let's go to the room manager here, right? It just has a room viewer. So the room manager, it attaches there, but you can't see that. In other words, if I go to the room manager, I go to the 2D view, all you're seeing is the room viewer. You're not seeing anything else. Okay. And that's not really an issue, but it's just something I have to figure out how to do. They don't display anywhere. They're actually children of the room manager. And the only thing attached to it in editor is the room viewer node. The room viewer node is simply a label that gets displayed on the screen. So when you change to that room, the description text is copied to the room viewer. So my guess is that I will have to, maybe it would show up. So let me think this through. Okay. So, how would I display the attached rooms? I would probably have to yeah. My guess is that if I made each room have its own viewer label, independent of the actual room viewer node, that when I added children and then made it a tool script and then added children viewer label, that when the room manager script adds the child to it, it should automatically show up what do you call that? In the 2D workspace with the actual room viewer node. Is this an accurate assessment? So how would I display the attached room? My guess is I made each room have its own viewer and then made it a tool script that when the room manager script adds a child to it, it should automatically show up in the 2D workspace with the actual room viewer node. Is this accurate assessment? Helps narrow down the two shows. Hello? This is Keith. Who's calling, please? Hi, Vanessa from Central Florida Health here. Okay, that's what I thought it would be. I was calling in regards to the enrollment fee. So Dr. Baptiste is no longer here. So in order to get the enrollment period, so you would have to do an appointment, or you could walk into a clinic and get seen that way to get your refill. Well, we can do an appointment, but I only got like a few days left on this thing. Yeah, like I got like five days, 6 days including today. Sure. Now, are you still only want to come to the Dundee office? Yeah. Yes. Or are you? Okay. The Dundee office, yeah. Gotcha. Just give you find it open for you. Yeah, I only live about a mile or 2 miles, a few miles from. Hello. Sorry, I don't know what happened. It disconnected. Yeah, I don't know. It's probably on my side because these phones disconnect all the time. I'm talking to my brother, and yeah, my dad's phone does it too, and for no apparent reason. Okay, gotcha. Let me see. I'm trying to get you the soonest appointment. Now, I'm
checking all the prices that are here. Sorry.
Okay.
On Friday, I have a 2 o'clock.
Friday at 2 o'clock. Uh, yeah. I mean, I guess if I guess if that's the one we have to do. I don't know. I got, like I said, I got 5 days.
Right?
Yeah, yeah, 6 days, including today.
Check.
So up until what, Tuesday?
Okay, Tuesday. Let me check Monday's schedule just to be sure. Yeah, Friday will be the only week I have it.
Okay. I can do that then. Yeah. So this Friday at 2 p.m.
Send an email. You should get a notification.
Say that again.
Schedule just you should get a notification shortly.
Okay. Thank you very much. Bye. Media source. Wait, what? Oh, media source. Oh. Turn media source back on. That's alright. Let's jump. Oh, I didn't even realize that my mic was off because. Oh, let me do something here real quick. So I'm gonna go to this other page here, this other scene. Give me a quick sec, okay? And let me turn the mic off. This mic is on. Well, that's kind of weird too. Anyways, it doesn't really matter. What matters is I had the mic off. Okay, so I wanted to apologize again because that was just my doctor. I needed an appointment so I can get blood pressure medication, and the only way they'll give you it is if you see them at once every 3 months or once every 6 months or something. Anyways, so where okay, so where were we? Okay, so we're going back to this idea here, and I guess so far I'm not getting anything done. I'm gonna be done by 3:30 today, so If I don't have anything done, I don't have anything done. But I'm hoping I'll get at least one thing done. I guess you could say, if nothing else, if I figured out what I was going to do tomorrow, you would say that's progress, right? Because I was definitely going to do a certain thing tomorrow. Okay, so yeah, and nobody's watching here, which is, I guess what happens. I mean, that sort of happens, right? Yep, nobody watching here, and uh, well, it says two people are watching here on Rumble. So if you're on Rumble, uh, cheers. Oh, but maybe it detects me. Maybe the one is because the other two are me, and then there's somebody watching via Rumble right now. Anyways, um, hey Rook, and uh, okay, so where were we? Okay, I was reading what Grok was saying here. A node in your visible in your scene, visible in the editor that manages room nodes as children. It's a central hub for your game's room data, room nodes. These are exist either as TSEAM files or JSON data loaded dynamically as children of the room manager. They don't appear in the editor's 2D workspace by default because they're added at runtime or via script and lack a visual representation. Room viewer node, a single label node attached to the room manager that displays the current room's description when you switch rooms. That's the only thing that visually present in the editor right now. You want to visualize the room nodes in the editor's 2D workspace, not the current room's description, uh, not just the current description. Your idea, giving each room its own viewer label, making it a tool script, and having them show up in the 2D workspace when added to the room manager is a solid starting point. It's close to what'll work, but there are a few nuances to consider. Let's refine it and confirm if it's accurate. Why rooms aren't displaying now? They don't show up in the editor's 2D workspace because no visual component. When loaded from TSCene or JSON, they're likely plain node instances or custom type without a visible node like a label or sprite attached. And Godot slash Redot, only nodes with a visual representation control node 2D derivatives appear in the 2D view. Dynamic addition. They're added as children of the room manager via script, either runtime or an editor script. But without a tool script or editor specific logic, the editor doesn't know to display them until you manually save or refresh the scene. And actually, it doesn't appear in there at all, so this doesn't really know it. But a single viewer, the room viewer, is the only visual element tied to the current room, not all rooms. You're suggesting each room node gets its own label. Let's call it a room label to display its name or description. Make the room script a tool script so it updates in the editor. When the room manager adds a room as a child, uh, the room's label automatically appears in 2D workspace alongside the room viewer. Is this accurate? Yes, mostly. Here's why it's a good guess. Adding an at tool to the room script lets it run in the editor, so any visual updates like setting a label's text happen live. Own viewer label. Given each room a label as a child node makes it visible in the 2D workspace since label is a control node with a position. However, there's a catch. If your room nodes are just plain node types, not node 2D or control, they won't have a position property, and their labels won't appear in the 2D workspace. They'll exist in the scene tree but be invisible. You need to make the room inherit from node 2D or control for spatial placement. Aha. I might still do that though. I don't have a problem. I don't have a problem using Redot's own, uh, you know, stuff. I was just using Node originally. Um, okay. Let's build on your idea and make it work. Here's how to display all the attached rooms in the editor's 2D workspace. Update the room node. Make room a node 2D for 2D position. Give it a label child via a tool script. Okay, at tool, right? Extends node 2D. And right now it shows node, so node 2D is fine. A name room, blank room, doors array dictionary label. Ready, is engine is editor hint. Ensure a label exists in the editor. If engine.is editor hint. If not has no label, label equals label new, label name, add child. Get tree edited scene root, ties it to the scene, label owner. Else label that text. Okay. Process. Engines editor hit label text equals room name. Updates live in editor. Okay. Got it. Wide node 2D. It has position property letting you place rooms in the 2D workspace. The label setup adds a label child if it doesn't exist, ensuring every room is visible. Load rooms with positioning. And what I might do is I might go ahead and yeah, there was another thing too. The room name is actually essentially its file name, right? In fact, it's file name without the room identifier. I had the JSON. I had extract the name from that file name thing so that it reads as the file name. But there should be also be a display label, and it can be set to that name label, but it can have separate like separate names, right? Load rooms with positioning, adds room nodes from T scene, assign them positive so they don't overlap. Right. Um, in fact, they're positioning them, spread rooms in a grid so they're visible and don't stack at 0, 0. Editor persistence. Yeah. Once I get it working in there, once it's added to it, um, then then I can work on positioning it, and I'm gonna position just like a 2D node structure. It's gonna have it's gonna be like a horizontal. It wouldn't be a grid, but a row. So each choice would be a row. So if there's two, it'll just be two directly down below. If it's three, it'll be three. If it's four, it'll be four. And then later on, I can figure out how to draw lines to each of the rooms when I'm ready. Editor persistence, setting owner ensures the room stay in the scene when saved. Run in the editor. Attach this to an editor script or a button in the room manager. And that's the other thing I might need to do. And I might need to add a couple of fields for actual positioning. It would be essentially editor positioning, so it wouldn't necessarily affect what how it's displayed in the game or what it does in the game. Um, so um, yeah, okay. So positioning spreads the rooms, grid. Yeah. Anyways, I would need to save the position. I would need to have the position saved. Wait. Well, yeah. Position would need to be saved. Actually, it would probably be saved in when I saved the scene. When I saved the project, the room manager would save the positions. Oh, right. This is what I was thinking too. What I was thinking is afterwards, after this, I got this working, that I'd find a way of taking room nodes. So if I added a new room node to it, um, if I added a new room node to it, when I how would I say this? Since it's a tool script, I can have it save out as a JSON object, so that I can reload it later. So I can create a new deal, add it to the deal, put it on the thing there, and then right before you close or whatever, yeah, we'll have to see if I can do that. Run in the editor, attach this to an editor script or a button in the room manager. Load JSON rooms. Run it via run it via script run and your 92 room should appear in the 2D workspace, each with a label showing its name. Keep room viewer separate. The existing room viewer can stay as a runtime display while each room's label for the editor's visualization only. They won't conflict since they serve different purposes. Yes, with a small tweak. Accurate part, adding a label to each room, making it tool script to make them show up when added to the room manager. Tweak needed to ensure that room is a node 2D to give it position. Without this, the labels won't appear in the 2D workspace, even with tool script. In the editor, you see the room manager, you see the room viewer plus all the 92 room nodes as children, with each with its own label positioned in a grid. You can drag rooms around manually. Oh, okay. So this is the important part. Yeah, the important part here is that I would need to load all of the rooms in the editor only and not in my runtime. So yes, but I have a few questions here. First, I would need to load all of the JSON rooms that would only work in the editor so that the game itself can still act like it does, because I only load rooms, only load one room at a time, uh, because I only load one room at a time. In fact, what it also means is I only load one room at a time, and I usually clear out the old room for adding the new one. It's a little more than this, though. In actuality, when calling change room, I load up the new room first and make sure it exists and loads properly. Then I remove the current room as child from the room manager, then call queue free, and then set it to null before setting the current room to the newly loaded room. So I guess it would probably be a function in the room manager script that loads all the rooms separately. Separately from the actual room in play. The runtime, especially since your game's design relies on loading one room at a time and cleaning up the old one. Your current runtime flow: load a new room, verify it, remove all the free, set the new one's current is sufficient for a lightweight single room at a time adventure game. We can definitely adapt the tool script to approach to load the 92 rooms only in the editor for visualization while keeping your runtime logic unchanged. Let's tackle your questions. Well, that was just the one question. Uh, I had some other things that I was gonna say, but that's okay. You want all 92 rooms visible in the editor for design and visualization, but at runtime you only load one room at a time. Solution: use a tool script in the room manager to load all the rooms in the editor, but keep your existing change room logic separate for runtime. You need a function in the room manager that loads all rooms for visualization, distinct from the runtime change room function. Add an editor specific load all rooms function that runs only when engine is editor hint is true, leaving your runtime flow intact. Okay, so I can do that. Yeah, see, okay, so the thing is, oh, actually what's going to happen though, I guess I can see how that works. Because I'm creating the rooms at runtime, at script time. I don't know how to say that. I'm creating the rooms, so I create 92 rooms, or I create all the rooms um in the room manager, so it'll have its own thing of rooms. Hmm. Okay. Change room process. Load new room from TCN or JSON. Verified exists. Loads correctly. Remove the current room. This keeps only one room active under the room manager at runtime, with the room viewer updating it to show its description. Solution: editor visualization runtime. Update room node tools group. Keep the room node as node TD with a label for editor visibility. Okay. And actually, when we load the JSON file, I can load the description. Description could be a label, but I think I still want to separate it. So the description will be a string, and then anyways, yeah. Um, no 2D to update room manager tool script. Okay, change room. Now see there's a thing. How it works. Yeah, the guy at the tutorial was saying that I should the guy in the tutorial was saying that to be careful when you're removing stuff and adding stuff, and like queue free and all that stuff. I won't actually be doing that. I won't. Well, no, no. Actually, hold on. I actually do that in the room manager, so I still have to be careful, right? Running it. The guy in the tutorial was saying to be aware that you can screw up things when you're freeing up memory or whatever for stuff you're using. The room manager handles um, freeing up the current room for the new room. So there might be a problem there. But why would I need to make the room manager script a tool script? Valid concern, supposed to mix and edit runtime behaviors. Freeing those that are still in use, reference elsewhere in the scene or script, which could cause crashes or unexpected behavior. In your case, since the room manager handles freeing the current room during change room, we need to ensure that editor-only room loading doesn't interfere with that. Let's address your questions and clarify why making room manager a tool script makes sense here. Your change room function works like this. Load a new room, verify it's valid, remove the current room from the room manager, call queue and set on it and set to null, add new room as current one. This is fine at runtime because you're only managing one room at a time. Queue safely deletes the old room after the current frame, avoiding immediate memory access issues. However, in the editor, if you load all 92 rooms under the room manager as children for novel visualization, and when the change room runs, e.g. during a test or by mistake, it could try to queue free a room that's part of the editor scene tree. This might cause errors if the editor still references these nodes. Remove rooms you intend to keep for visualization, disrupting your layout. The tutorial's warning likely applies to this kind of scenario. Freeing nodes that are actively used or owned by the scene could screw things up, break references. Yeah, we'll mitigate this by keeping the editor and runtime rooms separate. Yeah, I guess that's the thing, right? Because what we'll be doing is we'll be creating new rooms from the JSON data, so they'll be separate rooms, won't they? Okay. Free nodes actually is good. Okay. You don't have to make the room manager tool script. It's only necessary if you want it to actively manage or load rooms in the editor in real time. Here's why it's useful in your context. Editor only room loading. You want all 92 rooms to appear in the editor's 2D workspace for visualization, but not at runtime. A tool script on the room manager lets you run load all rooms automatically when the scene is opened in the editor via Ready Engine Editor without manually triggering it. Live updates. As a tool script, Room Manager can react to changes, e.g. if you tweak the JSON file or add a room and refresh the visualization live in the editor, keeping everything in sync. Central control. Since Room Manager is already a parent of the parent of all room nodes, both at runtime and in the editor, making it a tool script centralizes the logic for populating and displaying them, rather than scattering it across multiple separate scripts. If Room Manager isn't a tool script, you need to load the rooms manually, e.g. via an editor script or a button, which works but isn't as seamless. The rooms wouldn't update dynamically in the editor without the extra effort. They should if they're added. The fact that the rooms are tool scripts themselves uh, means that they should update in real time, I would think. Uh, to room manager tool script. Okay. Editor rooms, viewer. Every time it's room manager node, room viewer, current room, node 2D. Editor rooms live under editor rooms while runtime current room is direct child of room manager. Okay. Yeah, and I could do that. I could just make that a separate deal, which is all right by me. Um, okay. So I realize it shouldn't that it shouldn't affect the rooms anyway, because when I call load all rooms, it's going to create a separate room from the JSON file. And I think I'm not going to do this with the, how do I say it? Yeah, I didn't think about that. I can do that with the tscene files too, though. It's going to create separate rooms from the actual current room, since I'm just reading data. I'm just reading data and constructing the rooms. The tscene files will be a little different. but they could also be separate if I'm creating another instance. So like main menu.tscene would essentially be loaded twice, but that shouldn't be a problem, correct? Load all rooms, creating separate instances of the actual from the actual current room. It means there's no inherent conflict between the editor visualization and runtime behavior, since load all rooms constructs new instances of rooms either from JSON data or tscene files. They're distinct objects in memory from the current room used in the runtime. Why it saves separate instances. When you call load all rooms, it uses preload, instantiate, or equivalent to create a new room nodes for each entry in your JSON or tscene list. These are fresh instances independent of any existing current room. Similarly, change room creates its own instance of room instantiate when switching, even if it's the same file like the main menu tscene, the editor loaded version, the runtime loaded version are separate objects with their own memory and state. Okay, good. This is good. I mean, I'm going to be stopping at 3:30 here in a sec. Well, in a sec, about 20 minutes from now. And but even though I haven't actually made any actual changes right now, I could actually. Yeah, that sounds good. Actually, it's a good idea. Um, Main menu T scene is loaded twice. Let's say, yeah, in the editor preload. Um, Change room runs. This is a second separate instance. You're correct on the setup. Shouldn't cause issues. There are a couple of edge cases to double check. If main menu.tscene or any room has scripts or resources, e.g. a shared texture or script with static variables, those resources are shared across instances. This usually not a problem unless the script modifies global state, a static var that tracks something across all rooms. Your rooms seem data-driven, so this likely doesn't apply. Editor clutter. Loading 92 rooms in the editor might make the 2D workspace crowded, but that's a usability issue, not a functional one. The instances themselves are fine performance. Could slow down the initial load, but it's one-time cost and doesn't affect the runtime since I'll load all rooms as editor only. Your assessment is correct. Okay. All right. Well, I don't have any static variables right now. Both door and room nodes do have a static creation function, but this shouldn't really have anything to do with it, correct? Well, even though I didn't actually physically do a change on my thing, I not only have I figured out my way of solving the whole layout issue, um, I've also figured out what I'm going to do and decide what I'm going to do. Having static creation functions in your door and room nodes shouldn't cause any issues with the setup we discussed. Static function is a utility method. It has to script that doesn't require an instance of a class to be called. It's often used for convenience, like creating, configuring an object on one step. For example, your room or door scripts might have something like, and it does. No shared state. Static functions don't inherently share memory or state across instances unless they explicitly use static var or modify some global resource. Right. Okay. Installation, load all rooms, change room. No inherent interference with freeing. Okay. Doors as children. Room nodes are uses static. could ever be a problem. Static functions could cause issues if they modified a stack var. They access a shared resource. They could get confused by multiple instances. Your setup seems self-contained, so this doesn't apply. Current context. Okay, confirmation. Code might look something like this now. And I'm not doing like a direct copy because I got the way my code is actually already set up, and so I'm gonna have to work within confines. So it'll take me a little bit longer than just copying this code. But I have an idea now. I'm gonna make the room nodes. You know what? I probably should do that to the door nodes as well. Yeah, I should probably and I can position them where they kind of sit on top of the room that they're a door for. Huh. I didn't think about that. Well, okay, so the door doesn't need a position right yet. Maybe later. Maybe I can because probably yeah. We'll see later. Might look like this: change room, new room, current room, load all rooms. Okay, so everything looks like that works just fine. Well, you won't need to produce any code for it right now. Um, I'm going to have, I don't know what you call it. It it may be what you call a directed scene graph. So the um, first room might be main menu, but the first room has multiple doors. I see. First room will be at the top, like an organizational chart. Then, with as many doors it has, the rooms that they link to should be placed in a row directly under the parent room, and so on. It won't be just a binary tree, i.e., one node has only two choices, but you can have up to 9, and yes, it would be pretty unwieldy. Unwieldy. But I don't foresee any rooms actually stopping myself from seizing. Okay. Alrighty. But one node has only two choices, but you can have up to 9. Yes, it would be pretty unwieldy. I don't see any rooms actually having that many choices. At the most, maybe 5, but I'm thinking no more than 2 or 3 will be standard. About average. Um, so I'll probably have a bit of difficulty trying to respace everything depending on how many nodes I added. But it should sort of look like that. A waterfall type of chart. I love the vision you were describing. You're aiming for is indeed a type of directed graph, specifically a hierarchical and directed acyclic graph, or a tree-like structure where each room node can have multiple children up to 9 doors, although likely 2 to 3 on average. Visually, it's like an organizational chart or waterfall layout with the first room at the top and linked rooms spreading out in a row below it, cascading downward as you follow the doors. This isn't a strict binary tree, which limits it to 2 children, but it's more of a general multi-way tree, which fits your choose your own adventure design perfectly. Let's break down what this means and the challenges you might face. Without diving into code just yet, I'll sketch out concepts so you can visualize it. What you're picturing: root node. The starting room, root start room.t scene sits at the top of the 2D workspace in the good Redot editor. Children rows. Each row in each room links to another room, and those links are placed horizontal row directly below their parent. For example, start room is 3 doors, room 1, 2, and 3 appear in a row under start room. If room 1 has 2 doors, room 4 and 5 to room 4 and 5, those 2 rooms go in a row below room 1, and so on. Waterfall effect. The layout cascades downward, with each level representing a step deeper into the adventure. Not just flat grid anymore, it's a top-down hierarchy reflecting the narrative flow. Here's a rough sketch of what it might look like with a small example. Yeah, and then eventually I'm gonna find a way of like kind of like redirecting it, because it's gonna go to uh a final deal. Like the battle is gonna be a final, so it's gonna actually come back to a point. Um, children rows each door. Okay, what you're picturing? Okay, children rows start room. Yeah. Okay, rough sketch of what it might look like with a small example. Start room, room 1, 2, and 3, room 4, room 5, uh, room 3 connects to room 5, room 1, yeah. Room 1 has 2 doors, uh, room 2 has 1. Oh, that was supposed to be from room 1 because of where it's at. I see. Um, that should have been a straight down, but that's okay. Visually, it's wider at some levels and narrower at others depending on the number of doors. Variable branching: unlike a binary tree, has 2 children, your rooms can have up to 9 doors. Though 2 to 3 typical makes it a multi-way tree. The waterfall will fan out variably at each level. The doors are one-way links, parent to child, forming a clear hierarchy from top to bottom, not just a grid. Worked for a list of 92 room. Challenge you to face positioning logic. Horizontal spacing: if a room has 3 doors, its children need to be spaced evenly below it. If another has 5, that row will be wider. You'll need to calculate positions dynamically based on the number of children and their parents' position. Vertical spacing: each level of depth needs a consistent vertical offset, 200 pixels down per level to keep the waterfall readable. Centering: children should ideally be centered under their parent, which gets tricky if sibling rooms have different numbers of children. Resizing and overlap: Adding a new room, e.g., fourth door to the start room, means shifting all its siblings and their descendants rightward to make space. With 92 rooms, this could get unwieldy, especially if some branches grow wide. If two branches converge, you'll need to decide how to handle duplicates. Either uh, show room 6 twice, breaking the DAG, or just a spacing to avoid overlap. Yeah. I mean, if it shares, ideally, it's going to place it in between, and they're gonna. Um, Now, I won't have any lines drawn at first. I'll probably add that code in later. But first thing is they'll just be positioned. So they'll be positioned the way that they're spaced. So that when whatever shares a room will be spaced under there. Scalability. With 2 to 3 doors, average up to 5 max, the tree might stay manageable. 92 rooms could still sprawl horizontally. You might need to zoom out or scroll in the editor or even group branches into subscreens. A simple grid was easy, but the hierarchical layout requires traversing the graph to assign positions based on parent-child relationships. Here's how you might tackle it in your room manager's load all rooms. Build the graph. Parse your JSON or TSON data into dictionary mapping room names to their doors. Identify the root with the room with no incoming doors or design designated start. Use a recursive or iterative traversal to assign each room a depth. Start room 0, room 1 is force 2. This determines the vertical position horizontally. For each room, count its children doors, space them evenly below the parent. If 3 doors, place it, yes. Adjust based on the width of each child's subtree, harder but more precise. Instantiate in place. Create the room each room knows before. Set its position based on its hierarchy instead of a grid. Optionally draw lines with line 2D to show door connections, which I will probably end up doing just to make things easier. Start small. Test with 5 to 10 rooms. Get a waterfall shape right before scaling to 92. Yeah. Right. And actually, all I'll do is I might have it in a loop because load all rooms it's just gonna go through each of the. In fact, what I'll probably do is I'll probably bring up both the scenes directory and the rooms directory, and then have it only count a certain number. In other words, 5 rooms, for instance. Fixed spacing, assume a max of 5 doors and set a constant horizontal gap. If a room has fewer, center them. If more, let it overflow, since 5 plus are rare. Handle duplicates. If a room appears in multiple places, either duplicate it or pick one parent and note the convergence elsewhere. What it'll look like. With an average of 2 to 3 doors and a max of 5, tap start room at 0, level 1. Your next move. You won't need a code right away, but when you're ready, modify load all rooms to traverse the room connections instead of using a flat index. Um, oh. Yeah, I guess I could do it that way. Experiment with small JSON set to nail the layout logic. Let me know when you want to dive into specifics. Um, yes, it matches pretty well. Shoot, it's almost time for me to go. Yeah, even though I didn't do anything today. Yeah. Okay. Was there something else I wanted to speak of? At some point, they'll need to come back together. Of course, at some point they'll need to come back together. Because that's what happens in the story. Some of the characters meet at Scarborough Fair Chicken, a fast food restaurant in the game, and then later at the Bats Bats in the Belfry Hotel, um, also in the game, um, and then also a couple of times at the castle. Then some other locations as well as the end battle, where everyone will be joined. So it'll never truly be super wide. It'll be, it'll be a couple of, like, yeah, we have a couple of groups. Um we have the princess and the count at one point go off to the schools, and then they come back, and we have Roland and John go into the mines, and we have Sir William and Hubert actually going to the castle, and fantastic twist. Your story's design where the paths diverge through doors and then converge at key locations. The final battle adds a layer of complexity, makes your waterfall chart even more interesting. It's no longer a simple tree, but branching outwards, a directed graph with convergences where multiple parent rooms can link to the same child room. This match is a real choose your own adventure storytelling where choices are split and reunite. It's going to look great once visualized. Let's refine how it fits your vision and adjust the convergence. I gotta stop here. Um, I go through this with you, but I gotta stop. So I have to read this later, and basically what I'm gonna have to do is I'm gonna have to call it a day, and I want to say thank you to anybody that popped in here, anybody that's listening to it in part in Rumble or YouTube, and thanks, and I'll see you tomorrow. And tomorrow, I'll actually get started on coding some of the stuff. The first thing I'll probably do tomorrow is make the make I give the room a visual descend from Node 2D, which is not a big deal, and then I'll make it a um, tool class, um, a tool script, and then we'll see where to go on from there. But yeah, interesting stuff, right? Interesting. Okay, thanks, and I will see you tomorrow. Thank you for watching.